I own a ton of photo and video equipment, but when I'm flying somewhere to shoot a project, in many cases I can only take one backpack full of gear. And in front of me here, I have narrowed down all of my favorite things into what can fit into a single backpack. Let's take a look at it. This video is sponsored by Manfrotto's new Pro Light camera bag series. They have a lot of different camera bags within this series, but the one that I have here in front of me is called the Multiloader. There's no doubt this is the most versatile backpack I've ever seen in my life. You could wear it like a backpack, you could wear it like a briefcase, you could wear it across your chest. It also has multiple ways to open the bag and get to your gear. You could open it from the front, the top, the side, and it has room along the side and the front for both tripods, light stands, and monopods. Now, if this bag has a little bit too much going on for your preference, definitely check out the other bags in this series. Depending on the way you like your bag to work, whether it loads from the front, the side, or the back, Manfrotto makes a bag that's probably going to be perfect for you, so check them out. All right, let's go ahead and get to the gear here. On the side of the bag here, I have a pretty standard tripod, the Manfrotto 055. I like this tripod because it's small, it's light, it's carbon fiber. And then on the top of this tripod, I have the absolute cheapest pan and tilt head. I honestly can't even remember the name of this thing. I'll definitely put it in the description. But the reason why I like this tripod head is because it uses the little bitty Manfrotto plates. All of the other pan and tilt heads that Manfrotto makes and other manufacturers make, they use these really big, long plates, and you can't comfortably leave them on the camera. They don't fit in the camera bag. So I use this super cheap, small tripod head simply because it's good enough, it's smooth enough. I'm not doing that much panning and tilting anyway while I'm filming. So this works fine for me. I love the size, I love the convenience. All right, let's start with the back of this bag here. I've got an iPad. This is for my own personal entertainment, but I also use this as a secondary monitor to my laptop. And then the laptop is the new M1 MacBook Pro. As you guys may have seen, I purchased this kind of just as a test when it came out. You know, I've been a Windows fan for pretty much my entire life. I've hated Mac OS, but I was like, everybody's talking about this thing, I'm gonna give it a try. And I have really fallen in love with this laptop. Although I'm not permanently switching over to Mac OS, I probably am switching laptops over to Mac OS. I don't know, I'm gonna make a whole separate video about this because I have a lot to say about it. But definitely for upcoming projects in the near future, I'm gonna be sticking with the MacBook Pro. All right, in the top of this bag here, it's got this quick access area. So it's kind of its own separate compartment. You can choose to use it or not. I do have it used in this configuration here. And I've got my first camera here. This is my Sony A7s III. I have absolutely fallen in love with this camera. I'm filming myself right now on my old faithful here, the Panasonic GH5. I love you too. You just can't autofocus, and I am addicted to that autofocus. I just love that I can film myself with this camera and I can rely on the eye autofocus. So I'm very excited to film upcoming projects with this. It's gonna be a lot easier. All of the lenses that I have in this bag are Tamron lenses. We have had Tamron as a sponsor in the past, but to be perfectly honest, these lenses are so close in quality to the Sony lenses, and in many cases they're smaller in size, and they're also like 60% cheaper than the Sony lenses. So even if Tamron wasn't a sponsor, I would definitely be going with Tamron. On this camera, I've got the 28-75 2.8 lens, and I'm somehow missing my lens caps. I need to find those, but that's my first camera. I've also got two little SanDisk SSD drives that you can plug in using USB-C. And these are not our primary backup while we're on the road. These are our secondary backup. I'll talk about our primary backup at the end of this video. Believe it or not, this is the only light that we will be bringing on this project. We've definitely filmed similar projects in the past where we've packed more lights, and we just find that it's a pain in the butt trying to find power no matter where we're filming. And so we really just like using battery powered lights. And then of course, these little LED panels are so incredibly small, they fit into every bag. So we'll probably end up bringing 2 or 3 of these. I just have one in my bag here. This one specifically is the Pixel G1S. Honestly, I've used like 10 lights that are so friggin' similar to this. I don't know if they're exactly the same with different brand names. But I just recently went on Amazon to buy another one, and this was the highest rated one. It's super cheap too. I think it's 50 bucks. I love this light because it's bright, it's battery powered, it charges with USB-C, and most of all, it easily dims, and it color shifts. So in many cases, we're using this when we're on location. Maybe there is a street light and we need to be able to match that color temperature. Having a light like this makes that very easy. Now, this bag also comes with its own rain cover. Normally I pull this out, I don't use it, but if we're filming with a Lila Cardi and we're gonna be on location, in many cases we're gonna be hiking or waiting in the rain, I definitely want this. All right, next camera in the bag is another A7S III. I do have A7IVs as well, but for this project, because we're gonna be focusing mainly on video, these cameras are still better for video. They have less rolling shutter to deal with. They also have the ability to shoot at 4K 60 frames per second. So I think my plan is to permanently set up some Sony A7IVs in the studio. They're gonna be great for autofocus. They can shoot 4K 24, no problem. Rolling shutter's not an issue when I'm shooting on a tripod like this. But when I'm out on location and I'm doing stuff handheld, I think the Sony A7S III is gonna be the clear choice. Oh, and the lens here is the Tamron 70 to 180 millimeter 2.8. Next up, variable neutral density filter. Now, for these tutorials that we film, honestly, I'm not a huge stickler for the 180 degree rule. I don't really care if I have to shoot with a really fast shutter speed. However, we shoot a lot of time lapses, and I think time lapses with fast shutter speeds look really, really bad. So in many cases, if I'm shooting a time lapse, I like to be shooting around a half a second, sometimes even more multi-second long exposures for those time-lapse frames. And so to get that during the day, you're going to have a variable neutral density filter. Let's see, next up, one more lens here. This is the Tamron 17 to 28 2.8. I'm not a huge wide angle guy. I don't use this that often, but in many cases, if you're shooting time lapses or landscapes and stuff, you're definitely gonna want a super wide angle lens, so the 17 to 28 is great for that. Next up in the bag, oh man, I could not live without these. These are probably one of my favorite products of all time. These are the Bose Quiet Comfort 35 headphones. I think they've just come out with the 45s. I need to give those a try. I've heard that they're not that different. Bose has also come out with the Bose 700 headphones, and I really did not like those. The problem with those for me is that the ear cups are shallower, and so when I put them on, my ears actually touch the inside of the headphone, which drives me crazy. And then they've gotten rid of the physical buttons for these weird touch buttons, which I hate. And if I have gloves on, they wouldn't even work. So I am very happy with these very old headphones. I use these for entertainment. I use these for cutting out the world. I use these to silence babies on airplanes. And then of course, with a cable, I use these to monitor audio while we're filming as well. Oh, next up is my favorite mouse of all time, the Logitech MX Master 3 mouse. This mouse comes with its own little dongle that you can easily use in a USB-A port, or it's also a Bluetooth mouse, and it can easily jump between the connections of multiple computers. It has this button on the bottom where you can jump between those different connections. I use this every single day with my MacBook laptop, and then I can swap over and easily use it with a desktop or another PC as well. So I don't want to go anywhere without this mouse, and it also has a matching keyboard that you can of course buy separately, which is probably my favorite standalone keyboard of all time as well. So definitely check that out. All right, let's pull this rat's nest out of here. This looks ridiculous, but this is something that I always travel with, whether I'm shooting some project or I'm just going on vacation. I cannot live without this thing. This is a 100 watt USB power supply, and as you can see, it has a ton of different jacks here. And basically I have every different type of power cable I need to charge everything I own just on this one device. And one thing that I absolutely love about the new MacBook, and I guess older ones as well, is that you can charge them with the USB-C jack. So instead of bringing the proprietary MacBook charger that's the MagSafe or whatever, which is fine and great, I'm glad they included that, I just don't feel like I need to use it when I have something like this that can charge everything I own. So I have multiple USB-C cables, I have a Thunderbolt cable to charge my phone, I've got a little Apple Watch charger here, I've got a USB micro cable as well to charge some of my other devices like my headphones. So basically I could not survive without this. There are lots of products out there that look like this, but they have very different power ratings. So make sure if you want to be able to charge a lot of different things, you want to be able to charge them quickly, and you want to be able to charge high powered things like laptops, make sure you definitely get one like this. I'll put a link to it in the description below. All right, microphones. Microphones are always a problem for us. We've got our very old Sennheiser G3 system here. We always have problems with this system. I don't know what the deal is. You know, we'll get static just out of the blue. We definitely have problems when we're in big cities and stuff, but sometimes we'll be out in the middle of nowhere and these things will just start going. I don't know why. But I will still bring them along. And the backup system that I have is the Rode Wireless Go 2 system. And basically with this, it has 2 microphones, and then I also have the additional Rode Lav system as well. And this just gives us options. Now, when I first got this system, they worked perfectly, but then I started having problems with this as well. Just randomly, I'd get these weird clicks in the audio. I talked to Rode about it. They couldn't figure out what the problem was. They sent me a new system. I have not had that problem with this yet, but I guarantee you, if I completely rely on this, I probably will have that problem. That's why I try to bring multiple microphones and I use them all at the exact same time. It's pretty rare that both will fail at the exact same moment, and it just gives me the option to jump between audio if something goes wrong. All right, that's all the main compartments here. Oh, this is an important one. This is my Fstoppers Media Pass. If you're an Fstoppers fan, you know what this is from years ago. Basically, we have been hassled so many times at airports, not being able to sufficiently prove that we are media and that we have camera and video equipment. There are special rates. If you are a photographer or videographer, if you have overweight bags, most airlines have a policy that they will charge you a flat $75 fee per bag up to 100 pounds. And many people don't know this, and even if you do know it, a lot of people that work behind the counter do not know it. And so even though I could easily prove that, like, hey, I own Fstoppers and I'll open the bag right now and show you what's in there, all of these gate agents would hassle us. They wouldn't give us the deal. They'd charge us like $150, $200 a bag because they were overweight. So basically I made this media pass, which I completely made up. But for some reason, this is all they want to see. So it says a bunch of crazy made up badge numbers, and it's got made up serial numbers and stuff on it. Basically, it just makes us look a little bit more legit, and we can get through that baggage process a lot more easily. Obviously, extra memory cards is very important. Next up in the bag is my passport. I always travel with this simply because I have been out, even in the United States, I've lost my wallet, I've lost my ID, and then you get back to the airport, they won't let you fly. So I always travel with this just in case I don't have an ID. And then in this, I have hidden an Apple AirTag. And this allows me not only to find my passport when I'm looking for it last minute because I haven't looked for it right before a big trip, but more importantly, if my bag gets stolen or my passport gets stolen, it's a little peace of mind knowing that I can track it. Now, obviously, this is just what's in my bag. Patrick will be flying along with me. He's gonna have some of his own cameras. He's probably going to have his own tripod. He's also going to be carrying our main storage device, which is not going to be these SSD drives, but it's going to be a Synology NAS device. The reason why we use that over standard hard drives is because 2 of us can connect to it at the exact same time. So we can be working on our own computers, we can be uploading memory cards to it at the exact same time. We can also be editing from it at the exact same time. For us, it's much more important to have everything in one location, everybody working from one location, and then we use these little guys simply to back everything up, but we don't actually work off of them. That being said, if I was working completely by myself, absolutely I would be working off of standard external SSDs. And one more thing that Patrick will be carrying is our drone here. This is a relatively new drone. It's definitely new to me. I just bought it recently. This is the DJI Air2s. I love this thing because it's so freaking small. These things keep getting smaller and smaller and the footage gets better and better. Now, I paid a little bit of a premium for this device because I upgraded to the DJI Smart Controller. And normally it comes with its own little controller and you attach your phone to it. The problem with that is it's just kind of slow. You have to get your phone, remove the case from your phone, find the app, put the phone into some sort of airplane mode, or else when you're flying, somebody's gonna call you and it's gonna close the app down or whatever. I just like that I can use this remote control. It has its own screen and application built into the remote, and I can just use it real quick and then put it away, and it's ready to go very quickly again. When we're trying to run and gun, sometimes working through the cell phone is just enough of an annoyance for me to go, I don't think we need a drone shot, let's just move on to something else. Whereas with this system, it's just a little bit faster, a little bit more convenient, so I really like using it. So I think that wraps it up, guys. Obviously, this is a very small lot of gear in the grand scheme of things. Obviously, when we're here in the studio, we're being lit with huge lights all over the place. I have so much equipment here, it's ridiculous. But if I had to narrow everything down to the most important stuff that I own, this is probably it right here. Obviously, if you want to learn about all of the other stuff, head over to fstoppers.com. We're constantly posting reviews of tons of different types of gear. Subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, as we're doing tons of reviews there also. And make sure you head over to fstoppers.com/store to check out our full-length photography tutorials, including the Photographing the World series that we filmed with Lyle Accardi. I don't know for a fact that we're going to be filming another one this year, but we have been talking about it, so stay tuned.